The homemade condiment known as pink sauce gained popularity on TikTok before becoming embroiled in controversy, causing it to remain one of the longest-running trending topics of the entire year. But it seems like this chapter of our current internet era is finally coming to an end, thanks to a turn of events that professional historians are calling ultimately insignificant and not worthy of further research. So naturally, the internet will be talking about this for several more months, including me, of course, because I'm 100% internet. Literally, if you're watching this video, then I'm just a collection of animated pixels stored as data online. I don't think I've ever admitted that on YouTube before, but it feels good. My name is Nicholas and I'm a gay series of pixels. So as you can imagine, I live for the messy pink sauce drama with its improperly packaged perishables, unsatisfactory customer service, and web-based daytime talk shows that landed on the wrong side of pink sauce history. So grab some finger foods and a pack of wet naps for a delicious dip into the power of pink on today's saucy installment of Clip Breakdown. Hello television viewers, my name is Nick. Thank you so much for joining me once again on my channel for another installment of Clip Breakdown. This is the playlist where we dive into our favorite movies, TV movies, and other such content here on the web. Look at my hand position. What am I holding? And we break them down like the lactose in a milk-based product that hasn't been properly safety sealed. You know, because bacteria eats the lactose. That's how milk goes sour. I'm giving you science, I'm giving you facts, because today we are talking about the pink sauce of TikTok. My New York accent comes out when I say the word sauce and coffee. It's a fictional accent that I don't deserve. Don't cancel me, New York. I love your cheesecake. Before we get into it, give this video a big thumbs up if you want to see even more rundowns on internet history events like this. This is not the hottest tea in the world, but it's still time for me to talk about it because we have a conclusion, and I love a happy ending. But most importantly, if you're new to my channel, I would love to have you click that subscribe button right over here. That way you don't miss no videos from me. I upload 2 new ones every week, so turn on notifications and you'll always be the first to know when I've cracked the safety seal on your bottleneck, baby. Now, just to let you know, for those who aren't on TikTok and don't watch other YouTube news, I can't say I blame you. It's hard to keep up. That's why I don't watch the real news. I know it's burning and falling to out there. I don't care anymore. Pink sauce is something I can wrap my head around though. It went viral when a TikTok user who goes by the name Chef P, P-I-I, which I just love. I think that's great branding. And pink sauce itself went viral because it's basically made to be branded. I mean, it's kind of a smart product. Chef P would post videos of her dousing food in this creamy, bright pink sauce. It looks kind of like a pink ranch and biting into it. So naturally that spurs a lot of curiosity. And people would ask, what's in the sauce? What's in the sauce? And she was very mysterious about, was making it pink, but she did like answer questions being like, there's no artificial coloring. When you see something like some of those earlier videos, it could only be artificial coloring, I'm pretty sure. I mean, they make natural dyes for cake, but they're rarely that bright. So people wanted to know what it tasted like, and she was very mysterious about that. They were just like, it's the best thing ever. And then they obviously wanted to buy it. They wanted the recipe, and she just kept posting reaction videos of her dipping every type of food in there and acting like it went great on everything, and then having other people in her family and friendship groups, I suppose, people in her life or other influencers all tasting it, and no one seemed to really know how to describe the flavor or how to make it look good on camera.
All right, there you go, Raven.
Okay, Raven, maybe let's go for a second take where you don't taste it and wince like you're looking into a solar eclipse. Is that really the level of face acting that won you the role of Courtney Take Your Break girl in the 5th grade production of Legally Blonde the musical?
Oh, whoops, sorry, our mistake. Courtney, take your break. Just ignore her, she hasn't been well.
I want to know how they recorded that production with the same camera used to film the nightmares I get when I have a fever. Anyway, it wasn't long before Chef P started teasing that she would be selling this pink sauce to the masses. I don't know if there was a website or if she just did them directly through like messages, but eventually people did start getting to order this product, which came in basically what looked like the store upside down ketchup bottles that are, I'm sure, a stock food packaging component, as well as like some labels that are not cut to fit, which bothers me. But moreover, people were getting complaints, posting them on TikTok, about spelling errors on the ingredients label, there being no expiration date, some bottles came unsealed. The first round of bottles of pink sauce shipped out listed that they had 444 servings in there, each being 1 tablespoon. That would be 27.75 cups of liquid in that 8-ounce bottle or so. So obviously that's a mistake. And if you're getting that kind of stuff wrong, it's like, how am I to trust any of these nutrition facts? Like, ooh. But to Chef P's credit, she made an interesting product that people wanted to order. Unfortunately, with the age of the internet, sometimes the marketing and the flashy graphics and the high contrast colors are all you need to sell a product, and that might be where the quality ends. Although, you know, we have a fun little shipper. The box was cute.
So freaking cute. And then it comes with little pink feathers on top. I am in love with the packaging. The infamous dipping sauce that everyone is raving about.
Chef P clearly made this product to appeal to people just like her. They love unique flavors, they obsess over the color pink, and they don't know the definition of the word infamous. That means something that's known for its bad qualities, Chef P. Don't embrace that aspect of your brand. You're not a cartoon Batman villain. I've seen other people being like, the infamous, blah, blah, blah. I think you mean notorious, or like popular, the hot topic, something more neutral or positive than infamous would be good to put on something I'm supposed to ingest. Anyway, why does that bother me more than the ingredients? Clearly, Chef P put some thought into the unboxing experience of her viral sauce. That's why it's so beautifully packaged, like a dream catcher you would buy on Etsy. Call me crazy, but if I just bought a $20 ketchup bottle full of Fruity Pebble flavored ranch, I would not need or want a handful of pink faux feathers dropped into the box. Chef P is probably like, actually, those are natural bird feathers from the pigeons who drowned in my open vats of backyard pink sauce. That's right, after shipment, a lot of people were not so happy with the sauce experience. Also, not everybody got these beautiful boxes. Maybe she's like an influencer, or they reduced packaging after realizing how wasteful it was and profit eating to ship all of that extra stuff, because she's also shown shipping out the bottles in like just regular mailer bags. But if you love the color pink, I mean, I could see why you would buy this. Even if you don't plan to eat it, it's just cute and it's viral.
But I won't be able to try it until after my nail appointment. So actually, I'm not gonna try it until after this nail appointment. Stay tuned, I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna get some food to eat after my nail appointment.
Girl, are they putting you under general anesthesia for this nail appointment? Because you're talking about it like it's major surgery. Anyway, it seemed to me like people were making very vague reviews and also were not like super committed to whether it was good or not. A lot of the reviews said it was basically like ranch with some sweetness to it, which to me doesn't sound that good. It also isn't that exciting. Like if you can so easily compare it to ranch, then I don't believe those earlier videos where she was like putting it on pizza, putting it on chicken sandwiches, putting it on, you know, watermelon. I don't know. It was on a lot of foods that like just even your average ranch consumer wouldn't necessarily be their chosen dipping sauce for all of those foods, right? If you're obsessed with dipping sauces, please raise your hand, because I love a sauce. If there's a restaurant where you can get like a flight of sauces or pump them out into your own little cups, like a barbecue place, we're cooking, we're cooking, we're cooking. I don't care what color it is. It could be the color of my own rotten blood. It could be made of my own blood. If it's a sauce that's sweet and sour, I'm putting my chicken in it. Anyway, this reviewer, I don't know how to feel after watching it. They said that it's basically like sweet with a kick of spicy at the end. Ranch.
When I first got it, it wasn't really that good. I was like, it's a little off, but you know, I let it cool down in the fridge and stuff, and it wasn't bad. So if you like ranch, I would definitely recommend it.
If you would definitely recommend it, why was your sentence before that the least definite recommendation I've ever heard in my life? He said, at first it tasted off, but once I lowered the temperature back down into the safety zone and killed off the excess bacteria, it wasn't so bad. So far, this endorsement is not ringing in my ears like a musical wind chime saying, buy it now. That was not a glowing recommendation. Like, I don't need to be an astronomer to identify a 2-star review. Jokes about the sky, jokes about the sky. He's so smart cause he jokes about the sky. I just talk about stars. We're getting intergalactic. Oh my God, I need to focus a little more today. Anyway, one of the more popular reviews came out from a TikTok user named Lord Beauty, real name Ali Brienne, who is super cute, so pretty, and I love how she describes, I just love how she talks in her videos and throughout this journey that we'll get into, because you'll see from this round of TikToks they show what her kind of saga was with her TikTok sauce purchase. This is shown at the beginning of the Karamo Show. If you don't know, let's see what the Karamo Show says about itself. So Karamo Brown is a host on his own show called the Karamo Show, which seems to be syndicated to CW stations, but they also put their full episodes on YouTube, or at least segments of them, it would seem. He's most known for being a member of Queer Eye on Netflix. And this show, it feels, you know, very familiar if you're a daytime television watcher. Feels a little bit, I guess, Dr. Phil, Montel Williams, the guy who always wore the sweater, Dr. Old Dad with the sweater. He's bringing Chef P onto the show. You can tell they're appealing to their online audience by handling this very internet-based drama. Chef P is coming onto the show. She kind of explains her side of it in the first half of it, where she talks about, like, you know, she made some mistakes and then she got canceled basically and was getting death threats and she had to move homes thrice and her child was in danger and her livelihood was all damaged because of people who just bought the sauce to make bad reviews. And she really minimized her mistakes, which to me become clear through Allie's videos, which they've chosen to highlight.
I don't know if this is considered swollen or not. Check the seal, everything's good on that. There is glitter. Is it edible glitter? Am I going to die? I'm willing to send this to be tested.
With all the outfit changes and slowly escalating red flags, that series of clips kind of reads like the tale of how long it took Allie to discover that her very spoiled sauce had foreign bodies floating in it. She just gave us the Twilight trilogy of throwing something gross away. Of course, I know in reality, Allie saved her sauce for further inspection, which is why the next day, when she realized some of that pretty pink glitter was inside the bottle and it didn't taste right, she paid $300 to bring it to a food safety testing lab and was able to later share the results. Or maybe she didn't share them, but she clearly, you know, legitimized the fact that there was unsafe bacteria in the food. So yeah, that's the reason she kept a bottle of spoiled sauce in her fridge for 3 days, which is not a luxury we all have. Because if I heat up a whole pan of cauliflower tater tots and then realize that there's no more ketchup, then those things are getting dunked into whatever viscous liquid I can dig out of the pantry. You can't eat tater tots without any lube. It's dangerous. I need dipping sauces, condiments, and seasonings to live. I will sprinkle my avocado toast with baking soda. This isn't a game to me. Don't mess with me on this, Hallie. Oh, I guess I ended up being mad at her also for some reason. Just like Karamo and his entire studio audience.
Everyone, please welcome Allie to the show. Hi. Now, before we go any further, I do have to ask this, Allie, because my producers did tell me that the reason that we had to separate the couches is because you didn't feel comfortable in sitting next to Chef P.
He said, before we can even get started, we need to address the elephant in the room, which is that we moved both of your chairs apart 6 inches. All because Allie here wanted to avoid any uncomfortable confrontations. Well, nice try, you stupid bitch. My whole show was an uncomfortable confrontation. Studio audience, attack her! Even seat numbers physically, odd seat numbers verbally. You can tell that Chef P is really not into what Allie is saying when she describes, like, her sauce. Basically, their whole thing is like, your first video was fine. And honestly, her first video, where she tried it with her friend, they were like, it's really not for me, but I support, you know, small businesses owned by women, so it seems like it was sealed, there was no expiration date, but, you know, go team. And then the next day, she started discovering all of those extra things, like the glitter and the gloopiness and the wateriness. So she's trying to tell that story. I just think it's funny that he's like, so I'm told we had to move your seats apart, Allie, because you were uncomfortable sitting close to Chef P. And it's like, if that's the case, then she probably doesn't want to discuss that on camera either, right? Because that could be just as unsafe feeling. I'm not saying it's great to insinuate that, you know, Chef P would physically harm her by sitting there, but everyone's entitled to feel how they feel, and she asked what she wanted. I just think it's like shady that they had to discuss it on air.
And I think that's like a little bit delusional to say something like that.
I think it's delusional to send a sample to a laboratory after you stuck your finger in it.
Okay.
You know you just served the girlies some serious science when one person from the back of the audience is like, yeah, it's true, Allie. How do we know that it wasn't your finger that was teeming with E. coli, listeria, and salmonella? And that's how you contaminated Chef P's otherwise pure, delicious, highly perishable, and unrefrigerated for days dairy product. You could have been the one. I don't think that Allie said she was doing an FDA-regulated test to see if, you know, there was no chain of command to ensure that, yeah, her finger went in the sauce. But if there's like, what? Like, your bottle was bloated. By the way, since the pink sauce incident, there has already been a very similar case with improperly canned pickles. So at that point, Chef P did not have a monopoly on selling expired food over TikTok. And that's good, because monopolies are illegal. That's when a business acts as the market's only supplier of a good or a service. That's like when Live Nation and Ticketmaster merged, and they're basically the only ticket option for large stadium tours, and that's why Taylor Swift fans couldn't get tickets. These monopolistic companies also make the consumer pay with higher fees and prices in general and less innovation, so blame Monopoly for not letting you see the Eras tour. Ticketmaster is able to charge up to 50% of the ticket price in fees and processing. So like, what? That's not very pro-consumer. You can do anti-monopoly work in your own life. If you didn't know, the product that they show you in like the orange box on Amazon, for example, and Walmart, Amazon and Walmart can choose to put their own products there. And you can look at other sellers from actual small or independent businesses and get the same product, often at a lower price or the same price, and not be supporting a monopolistic kind of act from a business. It's called self-preferencing. You can already hear how the audience is seemingly more on Chef P's side, probably because Chef P got unbroken like stage to herself at the beginning of this. The stage, by the way, is cute. I love the set design. It feels like any other daytime talk show, just littler. It's the American Girl miniatures version. You know those little boxes you could plug in lights and stuff? Loved them. Also, to me, it feels like Chef P had some lines rehearsed. Like she planned a few of these out in the shower that morning, so she's like, this will really get them.
Oh, wait, not to cut you off, but to cut you off. So you didn't see the video because you follow me, right?
Well,
Yeah, absolutely. You had your time to talk, so just let me have mine.
Chef P said, and now I will be interrupting you, which the entire world agrees is completely justified. Then Karamo was like, actually, please don't. And she said, okay, what I meant is that I will sit here and cross my ankles with a playful flourish that the whole room will interpret as the ultimate power move. Are you trying to control the situation at all? It feels like you might be. By the way, as I said, all of this has come to a peaceful conclusion, so no shade to Chef P. She owns up to this, what I would call an unflattering portrayal of herself as a businesswoman on television. She says she had other things going on that she was projecting onto Allie, and you just know she had some story producer gassing her up backstage to make her out to be this righteously indignant when the camera rolled. They were at the craft services table right before this, taping up her knuckles and feeding her poppers. They were like, just remember, that's the woman who tried to ruin your business and possibly kidnap your child. Now here's a switchblade, a reminder that you're always right, and a shot of adrenaline straight into your heart tissue. Have a great show, sweetie. It's gonna be great. Break a leg. Basically, Chef P is like, it really hurt me when you posted that video with all of this fabricated stuff. And Allie's point is like, I didn't make anything up. And even if I had, you could have reached out to me as the business owner to try to make it right. Like, you can't verify that what I said was wrong. And it seems in line with what other people are saying. You can't pick and choose which customers are leaving legitimate bad reviews in something like this. You just kind of have to make it right. And she's like, why would I do that? Why would I reach out to an unhappy customer? And everyone's like, because you said earlier in the show that you wrote hundreds of emails to everyone who bought it.
Okay, but why would I contact someone who's fabricating something on the internet?
But nothing was fabricated.
To be honest, you're not special. You're not special. Okay?
For example, have you ever invented a dipping sauce that doesn't taste that good, but you added some pink food coloring so teenagers on TikTok would obsess over it? No, because you were born normal, and I was born to innovate foods by making lateral changes to them and also unsafe for human consumption. Chef P is like, look, at how I'm dressed right now. Now my whole personality is the same color as my viral sauce, which your tests say are slightly more virus than sauce. Then her parents are out there in the audience being like, you got her now, baby girl. Just one more condescending jab like that, and this lying will be KO'd by your customer service skills. The blonde girl can go to hell. The blonde girl can go to hell. Everybody, I'm very impressed with how calm and composed Allie remains through this whole situation, because I would be like, is this a hidden camera prank show? You're all acting so weird. I would be verbally dismantling that fake wood paneling on the background. I would be chomping at Karamo's arm like, I become rabid with the unfairness of how stupid this is. But I also would have come with a few jokes and quips of my own, so I guess it would be okay. In an interesting turn of events, it seems like Chef P believes Allie should have actually reached out to her instead of posting a public review, even though public reviews on TikTok are the whole reason she has a business. Like, your sauce is viral because you wanted to make a shareable sauce that's colorful that people want to post and talk about. Naturally, if they don't like it, they're even more likely to post a review than if they did like it. So why would you expect some one random person that you're taking issue with out of the thousands of reviews, hundreds maybe, and saying like, oh, well no, if it's a bad review, you should never say it in public. That's anti-feminism.
You could have reached out to me like, hey girl, you know what? I see what you're doing, it's amazing and all. I'm a supporter, but I think you should look into this.
Yeah, Allie, just because someone's business sold you a sauce that had enough bacteria to kill your baby and make you shit yourself at work, that is no reason not to write a handwritten Hallmark card to Chef P that begins with,
"Hey Queen, girl, you have done it again. Constantly raising the bar for us all and doing it flawlessly. I'd say I'm surprised, but I know who you are. I've seen it up close and personal. Girl, you make me so proud, and I love you."
By the way, your sauce gave me botulism and it wasn't that good on French fries. Please be advised. You're literally an angel and I wish I could be invited to your birthday party, but I'm not cool enough. Love, your secret admirer. My pants at work, Sally. I think Chef P realizes that she did not come off well by getting the audience to be like, you're not special. Because then Karamo's like, you know, if it is your business, you should treat every customer like they're special. And so I think this is Chef P doing a little bit of damage control, but also coming off a little, condescending is the only word I can think of. It's like, I feel like I got in trouble in kindergarten when she's talking to Allie.
I'm gonna touch your hand when I say this. When I said that you're not special, I meant that as far as someone trying to hurt me.
Oh, I get it. So you've not only found a confusing situation to make yourself the victim of, but also a confusing way of expressing that victimhood. I love this Oprah moment where Chef P is like, hold my hand, Allie. That way the whole world can see that we're on the same team as I tell you that you are stupid, dumb, incorrect, and nobody in the room wants you here. Pink sauce forever. Round of applause, everyone. Thank you. Karamo is sitting over there like, so wise, so thoughtful. This show is just as good as Queer Eye. Jonathan Van Ness is a less hot version of me. And we'll be right back, everybody. I'm obsessed with that close-up of their hands touching. I just wish Chef P was slowly smearing it with her pink sauce while she talked. Get it all wet and sloppy like one of your chicken sandwiches. Clearly, Chef P has everyone's motives figured out, although they kind of feel more like a mirror to her.
I know the industry. People use different topics to build their platform. That's all I'm saying. And I forgive you.
Wow, did you hear that? All is forgiven, said the pink-haired typhoid Mary. I forgive you for not just eating the spoiled milk, getting diarrhea, and shutting the up like you were supposed to. She's like, I get it. In this industry, people do crazy things to go viral on TikTok. But as someone who's made dozens of videos drizzling mysteriously pink goo over different foods and then messily eating them, I find it hard to support your sensationalist consumer advocacy and outlandishly sensible reviews of the poison food I sold you. This is my ultimate favorite quote. The reason I decided to make this video is because I thought of a funny tweet using it.
I think this is a moment of reflection.
Absolutely, and I think it's a moment of learning on both parts.
I think the learning is more on your part.
Yes.
Okay.
And that's being real.
Not Chef P chiming in like, correct, I've had nothing to learn from this experience. In fact, one could say I've been completely unteachable. No, I can't proofread my ingredients list or learn about shelf-stable ingredients because I'm too busy being a legitimate chef and food expert. But as a sign of goodwill, Allie, I've brought you a milk jug of pink sauce from my very first batch, which I've been carrying around in my car for weeks so that I could dump it on your head during this segment. Unfortunately, I can't get the cap off of it because it's so swollen with perfectly normal and healthy food gases, but instead you can just stab it with your car key and shotgun it straight into your stomach like a can of Pabst Blue Ribbon. Audience, let's pressure her with our applause, shall we? Do it, Allie. Drink the whole jug. I don't understand how even in the moment, Karamo couldn't hear how dismissive and one-sided that assertion sounds. Like, did you not see the part where her food had glitter in it? He said, listen, sometimes a food supplier won't know how to keep food fresh, or format a nutrition panel, or understand what the letter F in FDA stands for. But the real issue here, the scary part, is that you are trying to tear down another woman's small business by not letting your children dip their Tyson Anytizers into rotten sludge at lunchtime.
Her business, her livelihood, her safety is being affected now. And these are things that we don't think about.
Yeah, Allie, you clearly weren't thinking about safety when you made that TikTok about food safety. And because of that, there are unstable people who have nothing to do with you threatening the home security of our favorite stubborn sauce entrepreneur. You should have thought about that. That's your responsibility as a sauce-fluencer. That's basically where he ends the segment. He's like, so Allie, you've learned your lesson, and that's the only thing. I'm telling you, you've learned it. And she didn't. She didn't need to. She's right and you're wrong. I can't imagine, not only did he get so much hate in the comments that that episode of the show was taken off of YouTube, but I mean, he had to watch it back and be like, whoops, that I look stupid. Like, that comment alone is a very bad soundbite where he's like, I think the learning's more on your part. It's like, first of all, you don't tell me what I learned. And it's like, why are you going to absolve this other person of all wrongdoing when many customers had the same issue? Like, why does she get the kid gloves? So Karamo did try to make it right in a later episode. But before that, Chef P actually reached out to Allie in a DM privately that was very well written and it seemed very sincere, explaining that she was so sorry for the way she acted on the show and just gave a little bit of context saying, I was going through a lot. I was very stressed and I should not have projected it all onto you. I wish I had done it differently. And Allie, I think, responded and accepted that apology, but Karamo had still gone basically silent until he gave an update on the pitfall of social media. He's like, I learned a new pitfall. People hate me on it. No, but as I said, everything seems okay in the end. Granted, Chef P is doing great. She had her sauce purchased by Dave's Gourmet and they reformulated the recipe to be shelf stable, and you can, I believe, still find it in Walmart stores, although the production run is over. I think at one point Dave's Gourmet released a statement being like, oh, the pink sauce was so great, it was never meant to be a permanent offering. And I'm like, are you sure? I'm pretty sure if it sold really well, you would have no problem continuing to sell it. It's not a seasonal eggnog, which should be sold year-round, by the way. Either way, because people tried the store-bought sauce at Walmart and the reviews were even more middling. They were like, it's okay. It would be good on like a green goddess salad. Like, it seems like it'd be like a thin yet slightly creamy dressing, like one of those poppy seed dressings that I used to use at Panera. I love Panera. So Chef P is doing great, at least from that business deal, even though it's not going to continue. I think she got a lot of traction out of this viral moment, so that's great. But I also have to wonder if that really well-crafted apology would have come through if she wasn't kind of approached by Dave's Gourmet and was like, hey, we just want to make sure you're not being combative with customers before we go into business with you. So that being said, she doesn't seem so unaware of the situation that she didn't see her part in it. So I commend Chef P for handling the situation maturely after the fact, and Karamo too, after the fillers. No shade. I think he looks beautiful, but also his cheeks are a little more full this time.
I want to know from you directly, and this is in all sincerity, if when you were on my show, if you felt like I gaslit you last time you were here.
I had different parts of my heart pulling at me saying, am I right? Am I wrong? And I think I just took like a lot of reflection and understood like people, see things in certain lights. And just because I didn't see it in that way doesn't mean that it's, not true.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. Maybe curdled milk is actually a fun, healthy snack for certain organisms on the planet. Way to be inclusive, Allie. I'm sure all of the bacteria feeding off of Chef P's pink slime feel really seen right now.
I want to tell you right now, I am sorry, just point blank period, that I gaslit you. That's why it was important for me to give you an apology right now and tell you sincerely that I'm sorry.
Aw, see, that felt like a mature, peaceful conclusion to this runaway YouTube drama on your crummy little show. Oh, didn't mean to say that. At this point, I think the Karamo Show is gaslighting me into thinking that studio audience is erupting into cheers organically. You can tell they don't have a sign to cue the applause because it always begins with some producer who's audibly closer to the stage trying to hype up the crowd. Karamo is like, Allie, I'm sorry. I never meant to make myself look like an asshole on my own show, and I sincerely mean that. And then the clapping starts with, yeah, we love that! The audience is happy! Like, no, I think when you cut away to them, they seem a little bit scared of you. Are they warming up the crowd with a rodeo clown? Karamo then really helps soften his own image by being pro-women, which seems to be the only way out of the situation for anyone involved.
One of the things, you know, I'm the baby, got 4 sisters, the single mom.
A single mom who works 2 jobs, who loves her kids and never stops.
You know, maybe this Karamo Show isn't so crummy after all. It's hard to hold a grudge against a host who sat before their own audience and took accountability for their mistake by asserting, quote, I'm the baby.
I'm the baby.
Did Karamo just say he's a baby? We can't let him have any of that pink sauce. It's still deeply unpasteurized. It will definitely give him infantile botulism. Yes, it will. Little baby casket. So that's it, I think, for pink sauce. Walmart knocking it out of the stores seems like the final nail in the coffin, unless Chef P was able to own the recipe or learned enough through this partnership to start creating and mass producing her own in a, I don't know, regulated food production facility. Then she could start privately bottling it and selling it on her own website. That's what I would do. But moreover, I would have gone back in time. Like when she started teasing this sauce and people were asking when they could buy it, I would be like, you can't buy it because I'm not trying to poison the world, but I have a recipe ebook of this and 15 other recipes. Since I have chef in my username, I should have other things to feed you. But so far, Chef P just seems to be using that chef title as like, you know, it's an internet name. It's not because she actually has any other recipes, unless she does. At one point I heard her say that she ran a catering business. I'm like, that seems like a good way to sell a cookbook with your pink sauce in it. And then you can even be like, oh, if you want to really give it the bright look, then you can use this plant-based food dye to add some extra pink to it, but otherwise the powdered dragon fruit should do the trick. I'm gonna write a cookbook. Everything will have dragon fruit in it. Dragon fruit dragonflies, dragon fruit dragon scales, dragon fruit from dragon tails, dragon tails, dragon tails. I promised myself I would not ramble too much, and now I'm singing theme songs from kids' TV shows of the early thousands. And that's my cue to exit. What do you think of the pink sauce saga? Did anyone out there try the pink sauce or get, you know, pink sauce poisoned? Let me know in the comments below, and what other internet tribulations I should cover here on Clip Breakdown. But most importantly, if you're new to my channel, I would love to have you click that subscribe button right over here. That way you never miss new videos from me. I upload 2 new ones every week, so hit that notification bell icon and you'll always be the first to know when I've mixed up a fresh batch of pink sauce in a bucket, in my mop bucket, so that we can slather it on the steak of life. You guys are all the greatest. Thank you for dipping and dunking and thinking and thunking with me today. I will see you next time.